Hey fashion lovers, so today I'll be taking you all on how to make a free leg palazzo pant with a kissing print in front of it. So if this is what you want to watch, just stay tuned. I promise that this is gonna be a very beautiful video and you're going to gain enough value from this. So stay tuned and let's get started. Do well to subscribe. Alright guys, so getting started, I'm going to minus 2 inches from the top and then I'll get 12 inches. That's going to be for my crotch line. Okay, so for my full length, I'm actually using a total of 48 inches. Alright, it's going to be very long, so I'm actually using a total of 48 inches, but my pattern paper was not enough for it. I think either 48 or 46, I guess. So but my pattern paper was not enough, so I just have to draft on the pattern paper and then I'll still complete it when I'm cutting on the fabric. Alright, so I'm getting 12 inches for my crotch depth. Alright, so after this, now I'll go down with 3 inches. That was going to be on the 15 inches. 15. Okay, 15 is going to be for my laps. So this is how to just make your pencil trouser, the same method. So also placing my tape on that same way, I'm getting my knee length. My knee is 24, so I'm also getting my knee. So with these 3 lines, now I'm going to connect the lines together. So this is it here. I as well went ahead to label them. So this is crotch line, or you call it your hip line. Your laps and the knee, my waist line is the top. Okay, so on that same hip line or your crotch line, you're going to divide your hip measurement by 4. When you divide it by 4, whatever it gives you, you add 1 inches to it. Okay, you add 1 inches to it and then you get it there. So when you line it up there, for you to get your crotch extension, is you go back to that main measurement you have at first. That main hip measurement you have at first, before you added 1 inches, you divide it by 4 again and then get your crotch extension. Okay, so what I'm lining up here is the same measurement I have, the plus 1 inches I have at the hip side. That's the same number I went up with, and then I also came up with 2 inches on that line. So I'm going to connect it now. I hope you guys understand this, but please, if you don't understand this place, now there's a video I made on how to make a gather, side gathered jumpsuit. So you can just go back to it and then view it. So on the waistline now, I'm going to divide the waist by 4 as well. You divide your waist by 4, then you add 1 inches to it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do here for the waist divided by 4 plus 1 inches. All right, so you can see it here. I'm already done, so I'm going to connect it back to my hip line, or you call it your crotch line. So after connecting, I'm going to move over to, for me to get the laps, and for me to get the laps, I'm going to get the full measurement of this my hip line. I'll divide it by 2. You can see that I stopped at that crotch extension, so you divide it by 2. Whatever it gives you, you line it up. Okay, just line it up all through that place to the down. You're finding the middle of this palazzo pants. That's what we are doing right now. So once you're done with it, you line it up, the whole lines. Go ahead and line it up, join them together. Then you divide your laps by 2 first. After dividing by 2, you add 1 inches. Your laps, you measure one of your laps. Okay, just at your thigh, you measure it. I'm going to divide this again. I'm going to be doing this again. I've done it before on a previous video, so I'm going to divide it again. Mine is 22, so you divide it by 2 plus 1 inches. That's for the allowance. It's going to give you 12. That 12, I'm just using mine for an example. Okay, 12, you divide it by 2 again, which is now going to give you 6, and that 6 is what you're going to mark on the both sides. So because this is going to be a free leg palazzo, I'm going to get the 6 all through. All right, so I'll be getting it all through. That's what I'm getting all through. So but if you do not want yours like that, you're free to just measure your knee and then insert it again. But if you're making a pencil trouser, you're going to measure your knee. Your knee should be around that kind, 18, 19, depending on your body size. All right, so you're going to divide it, and then also you're going to divide it the same way I just did for the laps. Okay, and then you get the measurements for the both sides. That's how you do it here. So after this, now you can see that I'm already done. I'm joining the lines together. You're done with that, you go ahead and bring up this line, the midpoint line. Bring it up. Okay, so just trace it upwards, and then I'm going to use my marker to line it up. Okay, and then I'll draft it front, and then I'll use this same pattern paper. Now this is the front actually. Okay, so this is the front. I'm going to use it and draft the back. So I'm just going to use this front now to cut out the back of my pant on the fabric. Okay, so I'll be cutting this out. I'm cutting it out already, so you can see that I placed it on top of my fabric. So I told you guys before that this pattern paper is not up to my full length, so I'm going to complete it. Okay, I'm going to complete the full length on the fabric. So here now, what you're going to do next is you're going to give space all around this pattern paper, because you'll be adding space on the back. Okay, we'll be going up with 2 inches. Remember that in the pattern paper we removed 2 inches for the band and also added 2 inches for our allowance. So right here I'm going to add 2 inches at the waist side of the back. I'm adding 2 inches here again. I'm adding 2 inches at the laps, 2 inches at the waist, 2 inches at the crotch line, 2 inches at the laps line, 1.5 at the knee. The full length, that the down part of the pattern paper, that's your full length, is going to be 1 inches. On your crotch extension line, you extend the line outwards, and then you go down with 0.5 inches and also mark 2 inches, like you're going to extend 2 inches extra. Then you connect it to your laps, to your knee, I mean not your laps, to your knee, to the knee line. Connect it to the knee line. Okay, so on the waist now, I went inside again with 2 inches and also went up with 1.5. You can use 1.5 if your boot is not so big. You use 1.5. If it's very big, you use 2. Okay, so that is it for the back of this pants. We are drafting the back now. That is it for the back. But if you are a bit confused, you can go back to that video that I did on how to cut 2-sided gathers of jumpsuit. So jumpsuit with 2-sided gathers, you can go back to that video, and then because I explained it very well in that video, so you can go back to it and then clarify yourself. Or better still, you check for the videos of other pants that I already did. So right now you're going to connect that 2 inches you went in with, you connect it to the half inches you went down. That 0.5 inches, that's the one you're connecting to. The 0.5 inches you went down with is the one you're connecting to. Okay, so once you're done connecting, please don't, when you're connecting it, don't take yours inside, because if you take it inside, it's going to divide your boot, so and it's not nice. So make it a bit out, don't take it in. All right, so with this now I'm going to cut out all the sides that I've connected together. You can see them here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut them out. So once you're done cutting the back, you move over to the front, back to the front again. You're going to split it in the middle, this middle line. Now you're going to split it into two. All right, when you split it, I'm going to add another paper inside it because we want it free. Okay, so you just pay more attention to what I'm doing now. So right here, you all can see the way I'm placing the pattern paper on top of the other paper. Okay, it's not straight, so I'm placing it, it's not going to be straight. All right, so this is how it's going to be for the first time, for the first one. So this is how it's going to be. Please place your own very well. Okay, make sure that the both lines are together, not one being up and the other one being down. So ensure that the both of them are good before you start holding it up with your tape. All right, before you hold it up with your tape. Okay, so once I'm done holding it up with my tape, I'm going to go ahead and cut out the excess pattern papers that is at the back of the main one that I'm using. All right, so when you open it up, just cut out the ones that are under because you don't need them. We just need that one that is at the middle, just to fill that middle. That's what we need. So I'm going to do away with this before cutting on the main fabric now. And then after that one, you're going to find the middle of this one that you've added now, the pattern paper that is in the middle. You're going to find the middle of it and then you divide it by 2. You're going to join it straight up. You can see how I'm doing mine. So that line, now you're still going to divide that line again. You're still going to split it again. All right, so when you join it like this, you go ahead and split it again. Okay, split the pattern paper, after which you're going to now place it on top of your fabric. Your fabric is going to be in two folds. All right, okay, in 2 folds. Then you place the paper on top of it. This is the front you are cutting, sure you remember. So I'm going to join these 2 places, the lines together, just to make sure that both of them are of the same length, and then I'm going to mark it to know where I'm going to be doing my pleat. Okay, so I'm going to now start to cut it out. I'm cutting out the same measurements with this pattern paper. Okay, I'm not adding anything again on the fabric. I'm not adding anything. I'm cutting it on the same measurement. Okay, so guys, here you can see that I'm done cutting out the front pattern. So now I'm going to go to my sewing machine and I'll sew on this flap. Okay, so I'll be attaching front zip on this. I'm going to stop my stitching from here. I'm going to start my stitching from this 6 inches and I'll stop to the end. Okay, right here you can see that I'm already done stitching on that side I told you guys, and this space is still open. So I have this little fabric here. I'll be attaching it to the left hand side of the front. Okay, I'll be attaching it to the front left hand side of it. So I have 11 inches as the length, and then the width is about 4 inches. So I'll just attach it downwards, even to this side that I've sewn. I will also attach it to the end of it. Okay, but you don't really need to reach that place, as in the down, because I'm still going to cut it out. Then on the other side, on this other side of the front pattern, you are going to be adding your zip first. You first of all add your zip. This is the right hand side. You're going to add your zip to it. Okay, I'm using black zip because I don't have this color of zip, and it's going to cover up anyway, so that's why I went ahead with the black zip. So you're going to attach your zip to this side first before you come back to the other side. So after this, now I'm going to mark 1 inches. I marked 1 inches, yes, on the other side where I'm going to be placing the zip, so which means it is on top of this. I'm marking it on top of this material that I added, not on the main material. Okay, I'm sewing the zip on top of this material that I added. Okay, but I later did it with half inches. I sewed it with half inches, not 1 inches. 1 inches was too out, like it came out very much, so I have to reduce it to half inches. So reduce yours to half inches. Okay, don't sew it on the main fabric, you're sewing it on this one that you added. All right, right here you can see that I didn't use up to 1 inches anymore, as I told you guys earlier. So do not use up to 1 inches, highest is half inches. Okay, so you can see the way it is in here. When you cover it up, it's covering already, you're not going to be seeing the zip. So I'm going to line this thing up now. Like, I'm going to mark the shock on where I'll be sewing. So right now I'll be sewing on the both fabric, that fabric I added, and also on the zip plus the main fabric. I'll be holding all of them together on one side. Okay, I'll just use my shock and my office pin to hold it the way I'm going to sew it up. Okay, so I'll move to my machine and I'm going to sew on this area that I'm marking my shock now. Please, when you're doing this, gently, like take it gently. Okay, do it gently so that you will not have a rough stitch there. All right, so I'm going to be sewing on these two now, both the fabric that I added and also on the main fabric. I'm going to sew the 3 of them together on that side. Okay, so now I'm already done with that, and you can see the way it is. So it's already covering the black zip. I'm going to now do away with this. As I told you people before, it's not compulsory for you to reach down. As far as it's going to cover up with that zip area, you are good to go. So I'm now going to, the next thing I'll be doing here is to add another fabric that will cover up the inside of the zip so that it won't be touching your body. I'll now get another fabric. I'm getting a length of 8 inches. So once you get the 8 inches, the width should be 2.5 inches or 2 inches on fold. Okay, the 2 inches should be on fold. So just look at the way I'm adding mine. Please pay attention. All right, so look at the way I'm adding mine. I have to add it together with this side of the zip, the other side, that's the right hand side. Okay, I'm adding it there. It's still on fold, so you can see. So I'm adding it here. I'm going to sew it together again to that zip side. I'm going to just sew it straight down. Then I'm done with the sewing. You can see the way it is here. I'm done with the sewing here, so you can see. If you also want to sew on top of the fabric, you're free to. All right, but me, I will not be sewing on top of the fabric. That is beside the zip. I will not be sewing there. So I'll go ahead and stitch on this place that I'm marking my shock right now. So this is just to hold the new fabric I added now, that 2 inches fabric I added, just to hold it. Okay, so I'm going to sew on it again, just as if I'm sewing the same way I did the other first time on the same fabric. I'm going to stop at that down place. I'm not going to reach at the top. Okay, so I'll just sew small, just a bit, so you all can see the way I did mine. Now at the back you can see where I stopped. I didn't go up again. Okay, so this is just to hold that 2 inches, to hold it firm. Okay, so that it will not be moving in and out. So now I'm done with this zip. I'm going to go ahead and form my kissing print on the places I already notched. I told you guys back then that when I was drawing the line with the pattern paper that I'm going to notch on it, give it a notch so that I'll know where I'm doing the pleat. So I'm going to go to my sewing machine, and then I'll stitch the kissing print, both of them facing each other. All right, so here I'm done with the kissing print stitching. I'm going to move over to the back, and then I'll have to sew on the flap of the back. That's the whole flap. I'm going to sew on it straight up. Okay, then I will open it up. This is the front and the back. I'm joining the two ends, the two flap together. When you join the two flap together, from that flap you sew on one leg, and then from that same flap you sew the other leg down. Okay, I'll sew from this flap to down the other leg, and then from that same flap down the other side of the leg. Okay, then I'll go ahead and sew the sides of this trouser. So normally I'm using 1 inches to shape my trouser, but here I'm also going to use the 1 inches. I'll go down with 1.5, then measure out 6 inches. That's where my pocket will be, and then from this 6 inches I'll sew it downwards. Okay, from this 6 inches I'll still go down with, I'll still sew down. I'm shaping my trouser right now. Okay, so that is what I'm going to do here. Measure out 1.5 inches, and then from that 1.5 inches you give a space of 6 inches for the pocket. The 1.5 inches you're going to sew on it, so then the only place you will not be sewing on is the 6 inches, because you're going to attach your pocket in there. All right, then here is my pocket that I'll be adding on those places that I measured 6 inches. Here is my pocket. I have like 9.5 inches here at the length, and then the width is about 10 or so. So you're going to measure out your own, then cut it, and anyhow you want to shape it, you can actually shape it, but just make sure that the places you're going to be putting it is open. So I've gone ahead to sew on the sides with 1 inches, and then also hem the down part of my trouser. So the next thing I'll be doing now is to attach that pocket. So attaching the pocket now, I'm going to open this pocket up like this, and then I'll add it to just a bit away from where the stitching stopped. I'm going to add it there. Then I'll stitch one part of this pocket that is open now. I'll stitch one part to this part of my fabric that is at the back. I'm going to stitch it together. I have to notch at the ending part of that pocket because it's on fold, so I have to notch it so that I'll know where it stopped. Please, I'll urge everyone to pay very much attention here so that you can get this very well. So I have to notch that place so that I'll know where I'm going to stop sewing. Okay, so from here now I'm going to sew on these two, and after sewing on that place you can see that it's still open, which means I'm going to now use this one that is left to sew on the other side of the fabric of the pants. So that is it for the pocket. When you sew on the other side, you turn towards the other side and also sew on it. That is it for the pocket. I also do the same thing for the other side of the pocket. Okay, after sewing this side, I also go over to the other side of the pocket and sew. Now if you've watched to this point, do well to subscribe, and if you have any question, any confusing thing at all, you can drop it in the comment section. All right, so I'm going to go ahead now and measure the round waist of this pant. I'm going to go ahead and measure the round waist. I'm going to open it, measure both the ones that are out, every single thing. Okay, you can see that I started at that overlap, that lapel that is covering the zip. I started there, and also I'm going to measure it all through to the one that is to this other lapel that came out. Okay, so and I have a total of 30 inches there. So when you're cutting your fabric, you should cut more than 30 inches. If you're using 30 inches, you should cut more than 30 inches. You should cut like 35, because you're still going to take in some allowance when fixing the band. All right, so I'm going to now go ahead and close this zip now, and also remeasure it so that I'll be sure that this waist, when I close the zip, that the waist is still going to enter me when I close the zip. All right, and mind you that when you're measuring this, don't draw your your clothes, don't draw it, just leave it to relax, and then you measure it round. I'm now measuring it again so that I'll be sure that when I close this zip that the clothes is going to enter me comfortably. All right, so after this, now I'm going to move over to my fabric. I need to take in some maybe 1/4 inches by the side because I noticed it was a bit loose, so I needed to take in some 1/4 inches, which I will do that when I get to my machine. But now I'm going to go ahead and cut out the fabric, the exact measurements I want. I've already gone ahead to measure this out. This is 2.5 unfold, 2.5. I'm talking about the width, that's 2.5. Then you're going to cut out like 35 inches, or you cut out 32, but just make sure that you don't cut that exact 30 inches. All right, so after this, now I'll just trim this off, and then I'll start attaching it from behind. Okay, that is when you must have sewn the 2 edges together. That first 2 edges, please sew it together. Okay, that will be inside. Sew it together inside. So after sewing it together inside, you now start to sew the band towards from behind. Okay, sew it first of all from behind. So please, when you're sewing this, when you are about to get to the middle of to the back of your pants, that's the back, the middle of the back, you stop, don't sew that place. When you stop, you take in 1/2 inches, just fold your band like this. When you fold your band like this, make sure that the band is at the same place, is at the same middle. When you fold it like this at that same middle, you now take in 1/2 inches in the middle of that band, 1/2 inches in the middle of that band. Then, or you do 1 inch, either 1/2 inches or 1 inches in the middle. If you do 1 inches in the middle, then you know that at the 2 edges, that's the up and down, will be 1/2 inches. But if you do 1/2 inches in the middle, then you know that the up and down will be 1/4. All right, so that is it. Just sew on the middle of the band, and then you cut it out. So please, after you're done taking in these 1/2 inches or 1 inches, that's if you did 1 inches. Okay, when you're done with that, you can now continue sewing from behind again. All right, you now continue sewing from behind again. Okay, so make sure that that thing you're going to sew on the band, make sure that is going to be at the same place with the middle of the back. Then when you're done with that, you continue sewing from behind, okay, until you come out to the other side of the zip. So now I'm going to go ahead and then I'll close up this remaining fabric that is remaining at the edge. When you're sewing yours, you can see that there will be fabric remaining. So the same way I close this place up, that's the same way I'm going to go ahead and close this side up as well. But I'm going to use it, I'm going to use pin and hold it for the meantime. So after closing it up, after stitching on it, I'm going to flip it over and then start sewing on the front now. Okay, when you flip it over, that's when you now start sewing on top of this place. You sew on top of it all round as well. So right now what you'll be doing is just to fold it inside and then you stitch on top of it. That's just it until you finish the whole side. So guys, you can see that I'm done sewing on it now, and then you can notice that the other side, one side of it is a bit longer than the other side. I'm going to go ahead and lose it so that I can fix it, so I can just fix it up. Okay, I'll have to refix that place because I don't like it. One is taller than the other. The both of them should be at the same spot. So right here I've gone ahead to fix that zip area up. Then I also went ahead to attach the band holder, the belt holders. Okay, you can see where I attached it, just immediately after, below the band, just immediately below the band. That's where I attached it. So I'll be folding it upwards now. When I take it up, I'll fold it in, and then I'll just use my pin to hold it. Don't drag it, please. When you're folding it, don't drag it, because if you drag it, it's going to make the clothes it will not relax. So you should not drag it. I'm just going to use my pin to hold it. Then when you're done holding it with your pin like that, you just sew straight, stitch on top of one, and then you sew again, and stitch on top of one, and then you sew again. That's just the way you do it until you're done. And that will be the end of this video. All right, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for watching to this moment. I really do appreciate. If you have anything that is confusing you at all, you can just drop a comment, drop the question in the comment section. I'll attend to them. And then I'll also go ahead to insert a button, a hook for this, a pant hook for this at that place. So with this, we'll call it a day. Thank you guys for watching. See you all in my next video, in my next tutorial. Bye.